Shalom Israel. Once again, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who continue to rule well. Salutations to the hopeful elect, beginning with the 144,000. Lord will, and this lesson will be as edifying, as brief as the Lord will allow it to be. I don't have a title as of yet, but this will be inspired by a series of earthquakes that took place in the past couple days. All right, fair use for educational purposes only. I'm not making any money off of this. Shut up.
Jun. Jan.
All right. This is from the New York Times, and it says a 7.8 magnitude earthquake struck off the coast of the southern Philippines on Monday morning, killing at least 32 people, injuring dozens more, and displacing tens of thousands, according to civil defense officials. As the shaking toppled buildings and damaged bridges, the quake was the most powerful to strike the Philippines in 50 years, according to U.S. Geological Survey figures. All right. So, a very devastating earthquake, historical, off the coast of the Philippines. I have also some extra footage from, right, which is really what I want to touch on a little bit more. Right, it's gonna be brief though. This video doesn't have audio, but here it is. This is the same clip of those school students, right? And you can see how everybody, from the earth moving, from the earthquake, everybody is in sync, moving at the same time. And I guess this is a safety precaution to get down on the ground as low as you can, away from anything that could fall. But that's some powerful shit, something you definitely don't see every day, especially here in America, Babylon the Great. And I'm not sure if that fell down on any children, but earthquakes are very dangerous natural disasters, which is part of the judgments of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls God, or Yahweh, or Jehovah, or Allah, whatever name, right? His rightful name is Yahweh in the Hebrew, according to the true prophets, the true men of the Lord. And you will learn to honor, respect, and worship that name, as well as Yahweh Shai, his only begotten Son. So now from there, right, this is a couple posts put up by a brother. I can't recall which brother, but Las Vegas 4 hours ago, and I took a screenshot of this yesterday, which says, just the heading: 4.1 magnitude earthquake hits just west of Las Vegas. All right. Okay, this must have been last week, because it says Thursday afternoon. Yesterday was Monday, so. But the point still stands. Earthquake warnings flash across 2 U.S. states as multiple quakes rock West Coast. Reading a little bit, it says multiple strong earthquakes off the West Coast have sent shockwaves across 2 states on Wednesday morning. 3 were detected less than 100 miles from the West Coast of California, and Oregon, all setting off emergency alert signals in the area. The first, so this must have been last week as well. The first alerts were sent out after the U.S. Geological Survey detected a magnitude 5.7 earthquake in the Pacific Ocean at 6:53 a.m. Shut up! Salakia for the background noise. I'm about to put you in the cage. You're not no pit bull. Anyways, another one, put up by ABC7. Breaking news, a 6.1 magnitude earthquake was recorded in the Gulf about 118 kilometers northwest of Cuba. The National Weather Service in Miami said the shaking, which was initially reported as a 6.4 magnitude quake, was felt across much of Florida. There was no tsunami danger for the United States, right? Because that's from the aftershock of a very powerful and strong earthquake. You have to also worry about another devastating natural disaster, which is tsunamis, a huge flood of water coming from the ocean that can submerge whole towns, at times. But so right, grab some scriptures. This is Luke chapter 21, and this same account is recorded in Matthew 24, Mark 13. Basically the same things being seen, same things said, being recorded by different prophets, different disciples, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Speaking of Yahushua, it says, and he looked up and saw the rich men casting their gifts into the treasury, and he saw also a certain poor widow casting in thither 2 mites. And he said, of a truth I say unto you, that this poor widow have cast in more than they all. Right? Because it was all that a poor widow had. All right. When you give your last, then that sacrifice is greater than any amount of money that you may give, still having more to give. Verse 4 says, for all these have of their abundance cast in unto the offerings of Yahweh, but she of her penury have cast in all the living that she had. And as some spake of the temple, how it was adorned with goodly stones and gifts, he said, as for these things which ye behold, the days will come in the which there shall not be left one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. So reading on, it says, and they asked him, saying, Master, but when shall these things be, and what sign will there be when these things shall come to pass? All right, so a great portion of these events that Yahushua prophesied leading up to the destruction of the Second Temple was referring to the siege of Jerusalem, 70 AD. All right, that's when the Second Temple was destroyed. All right, but a lot of these things pertaining to a lot of prophecies that fit the times leading up to the Second Temple being destroyed is also going to take place in these last days, as the end of this devil's rulership, Esau Edom, comes about. So not only did he prophesy of 70 AD, but he prophesied of the end of this world as we know it as well. So jumping down, verse 10, it says, then said he unto them, nation shall rise against nation, which we can actually see happening across the four corners of the earth in the news. If you know what to look for, right? You don't even. All you really have to do is cut the news on, and easily you're going to see uproars and tensions, reports of international tension and conflicts and wars. It says nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. America versus U.S., Israel versus Iran, Russia. I said America against U.S. America against Russia, right? Russia against Ukraine, South Korea, China. All these kingdoms, all right, are at each other's throats. Some kingdoms and nations being allied with some against another, all right, and vice versa. But this is the point. And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places. Diverse meaning different locations, different places. All right. And famines, shortages of food and water, and pestilences, diseases, and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. All right. Blood moons, eclipses, lunar eclipses, solar eclipses. All right. Asteroids, meteor, whatever different, even chariot sightings. All right. So these are some of the signs of the end of this world. All right. Which great earthquakes is a part of that. All right. And that's that can bring a number of different problems. It can cause, just like I read earlier, it can cause power outages. All right. So if you have, people living in your home that are relying on the electricity being on for certain medical reasons, such as asthma, severe chronic asthma, oxygen tanks. You may have certain medicine that's supposed to be refrigerated. You lose power to the refrigerator to go out. If you don't get power cut back on in a certain period of time, it could be a matter of life and death. Even your food can perish quickly. Refrigerated and freeze foods could perish quickly. Certain meats, a whole building could come down if you don't get out fast enough. You can be severely injured or altogether deleted. If you don't have insurance covering your home, that can be the cause of you having to move from a pretty stable neighborhood or town. All right. The earth could actually open up and you can fall, from the ground splitting. All right. Car crashes, fires can be started. Electrical, some electrical fires. Those are some of the hardest fires to put out. So, but we're going to see an increase in all types of natural disasters. All right, just one part of the judgments and plagues that the Lord is going to send out into the world to judge the earth for its wickedness and its sins. All right. Okay, so Salakia. Now, so we talk about natural disasters, all right, natural earthquakes, but there's another form of earthquakes that are going to take place on the face of the earth to fulfill prophecy as well, putting a final end to the destructions and judgments, all right, in the ultimate day of the Lord's judgment, which will come by way of thermonuclear destruction, thermonuclear missiles, ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles. Salakia. Isaiah chapter 13. And this is part of the burden of Babylon, all right, which is Babylon the Great, which has been identified through the prophets, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai as America. You're not going to read America. You're not going to read the United States in the scriptures, all right? It has code names, and one of them is Babylon the Great. So Isaiah 13:1, the burden of Babylon. This is something that has to happen to America. Something that this is something heavy that is weighing, that should be weighing and will weigh on the American citizens, all right, from them sleeping, from them not believing in the prophets, all right, and choosing not to prepare themselves for the day of the Lord's judgment. And there's no way of preparing if you're a heathen, all right, if you are only if you belong to the 12 tribes of Israel and you're part of the Lord's elect, is the only way that through faith you can prepare for salvation to be delivered from the day of the Lord's judgment. If you're a heathen, your best bet is to get the fuck out of the country, all right? And like I said, Matthew 24, all right, and Luke 21, Mark 13. Well, Mark 13 says these are the beginning of sorrows. So you may be able to escape the thermonuclear destruction if you go to a different country and that country isn't hit by the thermonuclear missiles, but you still have to deal with the judgment of the Lord. And if you survive all things that could possibly kill you, then ultimately you're only going to be left safe to later be hunted down and put in shackles, put in chains as the first fruits of the slaves under the nation of Israel. So this is the burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. I don't want to read all this. Verse 5, it says, they come from a far country, the thermonuclear missiles, right? They're going to be sent. Most of them are going to be sent from Russia and Russia's allies and America's allies, NATO and the EU, that are going to, these different European countries that are going to turn on America, all right? Most of them are going to be sent from the eastern hemisphere of the world over here to America, Babylon the Great, as America shoots off their nuclear missiles and destroys various parts of the world as well, such as Russia. Not the whole Russia, but Russia will be hit. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, right? The heaven is talking about the firmament, the sky, right? Because just like arrows, they go up, they are shot up, all right, like a Hail Mary, right? Football player, they're thrown up into the sky as far as they can, and they do this arch, and then they come down, all right, with great speed and great destructive force. It says from the end of heaven, even the Lord and the weapons of his indignation, right? Because that's the same way how Shah is making his second return. He's going to crack the clouds. He's going to appear in the heavens, in the sky, all right, with the innumerable chariots of God, so-called UFOs and UAPs, that are also going to add to the destruction by shooting concentrated fire by way of laser beams, adding to the fiery destruction. Even the Lord and the weapons of his indignation, the Lord's righteous anger. The Lord has all rights to be pissed off with the sins and wickedness being done across the four corners of the earth, especially here in America, Babylon the Great, to destroy the whole land. Right? So of hundreds of thousands of nuclear missiles are going to be shot on America as the main target, the bullseye of the target of the Lord's destruction, to show how pissed off and angry the Lord is with the sins and wickedness that have been done here. All right, and the rulership of Esau, Edom, the nation of so-called white man, as America is their prized possession of all lands. It says, "Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint," meaning scared and powerless, "and every man's heart shall melt." All right, figuratively and literally. "And they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrow shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames," right? Because they're not going to believe what is happening. All right, they're going to be in shock. All right, and literally set on fire. "Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate," meaning empty, "and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellation thereof shall not give their light, because of the mushroom clouds and the chariots of God. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world." Salakia. "And the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible." I will make a right, because that's the only thing that will cause these people, beginning with the top banking families, to no longer be prideful. All right, them, along with 2/3 of our people in these heathen nations, they don't believe in God. They don't respect the God of the Bible. They don't understand the true nature of the Heavenly Father, and so the Lord is going to, and so they're proud when the prophets, the men of the Lord, prophesy to them. All right, and tell them about the ways of the Lord. They don't believe it. They don't want to believe it. They talk shit. They scoff. They scorn. All right, and they may even attack you. They will begin to attack the Lord's prophets, imprison them. All right, and delete some of them as well. All right, out of their arrogancy, out of their pride, they hate the thought of the world changing, not according to their will, but according to the will of the Heavenly Father, one the world ignorantly calls God. They hate the thought. They dread the thought of you bringing a message of a dramatic and drastic, forceful change to the whole planet. All right, after because they're living in peace, they're comfortable. All right, and they don't want things to change. They want things to stay exactly as it is. All right, and they don't want to abide by the rules of God, because that would cause for them to have to change different ways of their life. They may be into getting tattoos or being adulterers or adulteresses, whatever sins they like partaking in, eating pork, shrimp, crab, lobster, you know, they don't want to change those ways, and so this world is the being remaining in power is the only way that they can remain peacefully and comfortably committing their sins. All right, being involved in the alphabet community, being transgender, whatever lifestyle they like to lead. But the Lord is going to put an end to all wickedness and establish peace, order, and structure amongst the across the four corners of the earth, beginning with the nation of Israel. It says, I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. The value of a man is going to rise, is going to continue to rise, especially the value of the prophets, the men of the Lord, the more we draw closer to the end of this world and the destruction that's coming. This is the point here, verse 13. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Lord of hosts and in the day of his fierce anger. All right, so the thermonuclear destruction is going to be so strong that the whole earth is going to experience something like an earthquake, the greatest earthquake in history. All right, not only is the earth going to move, but the atmosphere is going to move as well. One more and I'm going to close out. This is Isaiah chapter 24 and 19. It says the earth is utterly broken down. Right, the earth is going to have through the judgment of Yahweh Bashmal Shah. All right, there's about to be a great renovation to the earth. All right, a great demolition by way of thermonuclear destruction. All right, a great reconstruction. All right, and the whole earth is going to look totally different. You're going to have new lands come up out of the water. That's how much destructive force is going to be caused by the thermonuclear missiles. New islands, new oceans and seas. All right, because there's land masses. All right, as the I was just seeing something yesterday. They said humans know more about the universe than they do the ocean. All right, and some of the deepest parts of the ocean is deep enough to cover some of the tallest mountains that are on the earth. All right, so from that thermonuclear destruction, some of those land masses are going to come up as some of the land masses that are shown on the map are going to be submerged by water. All right, so you're going to have different, the earth is going to look different. It says the earth is utterly broken down, the earth is clean dissolved. Right, that thermonuclear destruction is also going to clean the earth. All right, you have global warming. All right, pollution is at an all-time high. Everything is going to be cleansed. It says clean dissolved. The earth is clean dissolved. Right, what's going to cause that dissolvement of the different elements is that very hot fire from the nuclear bombs. The earth is moved exceedingly. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth. And they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days shall they be visited. Right, so contrary to popular belief, the thermonuclear missiles is not going to put an end to the whole entire planet. All right, scriptures say the earth abideth forever, and the thermonuclear destruction is going to put an end to the armies of the world, all right, and the rulership of these heathen nations, beginning with the top banking families of the Edomites, a nation of so-called white men. But think about that. That based upon that video that I showed, right? I'll show it one more time. Do I have it right here? Right. If this is the power of, right, you can see these people shaking, right? That's from the earth moving. Think about how it's going to be when in the day of the Lord's judgment from the thermonuclear missiles, all right? It's going to be so powerful, the whole earth is literally going to move, all right? The only safe place is going to be in the heavens on the chariots of God, which is a privilege only for the elect of the nation of Israel. So Lord willing, I was edifying, like, give all praise, honor, and glory forever and ever once again to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. We continue to do well. Salutations to the hopeful elect. Shalom.